There's this quiet fear that follows a lot of us. The fear that if we show up as our full selves, it'll push people away. So we start editing, softening our tone, trimming our feelings, rewriting our personality into something more digestible. And maybe that keeps the peace for a while, but deep down it leaves you wondering, if people only like the version of you that hides, do they actually like you at all? I welcome you to Reframe, where we talk about things too taboo for the standard room. I've spent a lot of my life trying not to be too much, too emotional, too intense, too honest, too curious. It's strange. The world tells you to be authentic, but punishes you when you are. So you start managing yourself like a PR team. You still show up, but only in fragments. The pieces that feel safe. The pieces that won't make other people around us uncomfortable. It's not that you're lying, but editing what other people get to see of you. And you get good at it. So good that even when you're alone, it takes a minute to remember who you actually are underneath all the filters. The version of you that feels deeply, laughs too loud, overthinks, loves recklessly, questions everything. You tuck that version away because somewhere along the line, someone taught you that being yourself was an inconvenience. But here's the thing. When you hide those parts of yourself to be accepted, you never really feel accepted, just tolerated. And really the worst of it all is you never actually allow yourself to be accepted by those who would in the first place. All because you have this portioned version of yourself you've concocted that you never let down. And the emptiness that comes from that's the body recognizing it's being seen, but not known, not understood. Most people who feel like they're too much aren't overbearing. They're just aware. They pick up on subtleties, they feel the room, they care a little too much about the things that others overlook. They're the ones who think deeply, love loudly, and hurt quietly. And because that kind of energy makes people uncomfortable, the world starts to condition it out of us. You learn to tone it down in class, in friendships, in love, until eventually the real you only exists in the most private of moments, if that at all. And that truly is the saddest kind of loneliness. Being surrounded by people, but realizing you've never actually been met. I do want to pause here because this isn't really about blaming other people for not understanding us. Sometimes it's not even really their fault. A lot of people can only love you to the level that they've learned to love themselves. So if they too have had to suppress their intensity to survive, your honesty might sound like confrontation, your emotions chaos. Your depth might remind them of everything they themselves had to bury. And instead of facing it, they label you as too much. But let's call it what it really is. You're not too much, you're just too honest, too pure to yourself for people still trying to stay numb, to stay avoidant. And if that sounds harsh, it's really not meant to be. It's just the truth most of us are too afraid to say out loud. Because in reality, the moment you stop shrinking, you start losing people who were only ever comfortable with the smaller version of yourself. But that's really the fear, isn't it? That if you show up fully, you'll end up alone. which is ironic because that's the paradox. When you shrink yourself to stay connected, you still end up alone, because the only connection you're maintaining is with the mask, not with you. The people who are meant for you, they won't need you to dim your astonishing light. They'll exhale around your honesty. They'll laugh when you ramble. They'll listen when you have deep conversations. They'll meet you where you are instead of making you feel like a burden for who you are. When you start to unlearn the fear of being too much, you realize something powerful. You've been mistaking suppression for peace. Silence isn't calmness, avoidance isn't kindness, and shrinking isn't humility. Peace doesn't mean being quiet, it means being true to ourselves. And the right people, the ones who've done their own work, who are comfortable with the depths, they won't just tolerate your fullness, they'll need it. Because people like you, the ones who think, feel deeply, reflect, and still care despite all of it, you're not too much. You're exactly enough in a world that's gotten used to too little. If you take anything from this, let it be that you don't have to keep breaking yourself down to be digestible. You're not supposed to fit comfortably into every space. You're supposed to find the ones that expand with you. The goal isn't to be less. The goal is to be surrounded by people who can handle more. So the next time you catch yourself shrinking, remind yourself, you were never too much. You were just too real for the wrong rooms. I made Reframe because I needed a place to say all this, and because I know I'm not the only one who feels it. If you're tired of pretending, tired of filtering, of asking yourself whether you're too much or not enough, this is a space for you, where we don't react, we reflect.